Hi everyone, my name is Paula Currents and I am the Ombudsman Program Director for Department of Aging and Disabilities, and I'm out here sitting on my deck on this beautiful day doing my work from home, and I thought I would take a few minutes to talk to you about something that is very important to me, and that is Elder Abuse Awareness Month, which is the month of June, and Elder Abuse Awareness Day, which is Monday today. And anyway, I wanted to go over some points with you to help you in helping the community that you live in to prevent elder abuse in your neighborhood. So one of the points I wanted to make was to make sure you listen to older people and caregivers to really understand their challenges and provide any support that you can. You know, they're sheltering in place right now. We've asked older people that are vulnerable and have illnesses and, you know, are over 60 that they really need to shelter in place. And so now they're stuck in their homes in a lot of situations, and maybe there's kids in the home because they're living with their adult children, and the adult children are the caregivers, and they also have to work, the caregivers do. And so it's really a mix of a lot of things that can be very stressful for people. And so I want you to look around you and be aware of those situations and reach out and support them in any way that you can. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is to educate one another about the signs of abuse and how to get help. You know, abuse comes in many, many forms. It could be physical, verbal, sexual, emotional abuse, financial abuse, and actually financial abuse is really prevalent in these times right now. We've got a lot of people that are out of work, and so maybe they're becoming dependent on mom or dad's financial situation to support them. And there's also a lot of scams going on right now out, you know, the phone calls that are coming in about Medicare and about things that have to do with the pandemic and just so many things. And when a person is isolated and they're accepting these phone calls, maybe they're living alone, they don't know who to trust and who not to trust. So help educate them on maybe not answering the phone so much. Maybe let the answer machine pick up and decide whether they're worth calling back. So the third thing that I wanted to talk about is reporting suspected abuse or neglect as soon as possible. If you live in the community, if it's a situation where there's possible abuse in the community, you would want to call Adult Protective Services to report it. You can reach them at 410-421-8400. Or if it involves someone in an assisted living or nursing home, you can reach out to our program, the Ombudsman Program, at 410-222-4257. And of course, if it's an emergency or an urgent situation, you definitely would want to call 911. You can also, the other point I wanted to make was that you can also build a strong community social support and connections. You know, they talk about social distancing right now, but I think a better phrase for that is physical distancing, because we're staying at least 6 feet apart and we're trying to physically stay away from people, but yet we don't want to break our social ties. We want to check in on people, and we want them to check in on us, and we want to be able to just make sure that each other is doing okay and we have everything that we need. So maybe in the case of an older person in your community, you could knock on their screen door and just talk to them through the screen door and check on them and make sure that they're okay. You could also, you know, possibly sit out in the yard and have a lemonade together and just sit further apart from each other and just check on how they're really doing. Check to see, are they looking like they're down, depressed? Do you see anything that's suspicious, bruises on their arms or anything like that? Just really be a network for them so that they know that they can reach out to you and that they feel comfortable with you. And the last thing would be that you should encourage people to reach out for support from professionals as well. So in these times, I know that things are virtual. You can't necessarily reach out and go visit people, professionals, but there is virtual counseling going on. There's virtual caregiver support program right at our department going on, that if you're a caregiver and you need that support, you just need to be able to talk to somebody. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. And then also you could reach out to your clergyman, your priest, or your pastor, or someone in the church that maybe you could speak to in confidence, and they could help you in determining whether this is something that you should be reporting. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, elder abuse is preventable, and we all play a role in this. And so each of us should be accountable and take our own responsibility in checking on our neighbors and our loved ones. And just want to thank you today for your time, and stay well and take care of one another and get out and enjoy this weather. Take care.
New message.
Department of the Social Security Administration. The reason of this call is to inform you that your Social Security number has been suspended for suspicion of illegal activity. If you do not contact us immediately, your account will be deactivated. For more information about this case file, press 1 or call immediately our department number, 326.
This is a scam. Thieves are misusing the Social Security Administration's authority and phone schemes to trick you into giving them money or personal information. They state there is a problem with your Social Security number or account. They claim there's been suspicious or fraudulent activity, and you could be arrested or face other legal action. They even spoof SSA's main customer service telephone number on caller ID. Don't believe them. Don't provide any information. SSA employees will never threaten you for information or promise benefits in exchange for information. In those cases, the call is fraudulent. Just hang up. If you suspect you've been contacted by an SSA scammer, call the Social Security Fraud Hotline at 1-800-269-0271.
Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Hi, I'm Leah from Social Security. Thanks for joining us on Facebook Live. Feel free to ask questions below, but remember, don't post personally identifiable information here or on any social media. This video will be closed caption post-broadcast. Today we're here to talk about elder abuse and how you can help prevent it. Every year on June 15th, we commemorate World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. It is one of the many opportunities to share information on the links and many facets of abuse and neglect in later life. At Social Security, we've seen a variety of attempted abuse and fraud, and we're constantly educating the public to better identify scammers. With us today is Tracy Lingy from our Office of Inspector General, who's here to talk about protecting you and your loved ones against Social Security fraud. Welcome, Tracy. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yes, like you said, I'm with Social Security's Office of the Inspector General. We call it the OIG. And if you're unfamiliar with an OIG, every federal agency has one. We conduct oversight of Social Security's programs and operations. And as communications director, it's my job to tell the public and Congress and others about the work we do to improve Social Security and prevent fraud, waste, and abuse.
So what is elder abuse?
According to the Department of Health and Human Services, it's mistreatment that results in harm or loss to an older person. It can take several forms, not just physical abuse, but also psychological abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation.
So what happens in situations of elder abuse?
Well, it can happen within families, institutions. It's in every community. It's really a global social problem affecting millions of older people, and it can be, as I said, physical abuse, psychological abuse, but it can also result in senior citizens not being able to pay for their food or housing if somebody is taking money that belongs to them.
So what should someone do if they suspect that an elderly person is being abused?
Well, in cases where there's a question of immediate safety and well-being, that's time for local law enforcement to step in, and even 911 in an emergency situation. Local authorities are the ones that will be, responding to situations where somebody is physically in jeopardy. And there's also state elder care agencies that will take allegations of elder abuse and look into them if it's not an immediate concern about safety. And then there's the financial aspect of it, which is where the Social Security Office of the Inspector General would come in if you're concerned about benefit misuse, an older person's retirement benefits being misused so they can't pay for their housing or food. Then we encourage people to report that to us. And we have a fraud hotline. We have an online site, oig.ssa.gov, or you can call us at 1-800-269-0271. I'll repeat that several times for people to report suspected Social Security fraud.
Okay, so one of the ways that individuals can be subjected to elder abuse is through phone and email scams. Can you tell us what that might look like or might sound like?
Sure. There are three main types of scams, and right now the most common one are impersonation scams. And by impersonation, I mean people are impersonating government employees. And that's when they will try to gain somebody's trust and establish authority and then ask for money or personal information. And then there's advanced fee scams where they ask for money up front and they promise lottery winnings or anything of value like a vacation. You should never have to pay money to get money. And then the third type is phishing. And phishing scams can be through email, text, or on the phone, but they use pretext or fake links that you think are your bank but aren't your bank, and they're really just trying to get information from you to steal your identity.
So let's try to play one of those scam calls for our audience.
This call is from the Department of Social Security Administration. The reason you have received this phone call from our department is to inform you that we just suspend your Social Security number because we found some suspicious activity. So if you want to know about this case, just press 1. Thank you.
What are some things to look out for?
Threatening tactics. If a government employee were to call you, they would not threaten you. But these scam callers, they escalate to threats really quickly. So that's one thing to look for. Also, caller ID spoofing. Just because your caller ID says it's a government agency, it may not be. And lastly, they want money or personal information. But they will ask for money in non-traditional ways like gift cards, prepaid debit cards, or wire transfers. Government agencies will never ask you to pay a debt that way.
So how widespread of an issue is this, and is it growing?
It is growing. It's very widespread. If you have a phone number, chances are you have gotten one of these calls or you will get one of these calls. In a recent 6-month period, we reported to the public that we had received 160,000 allegations of SSA impersonation scam calls. And that's just the people that reported it to us. So this is extremely widespread, and that's why we're talking about it today.
Wow. If you're just joining us, we're here with Tracy Lingy from Social Security's Office of Inspector General discussing how to help prevent elder abuse and protect yourself from scams. Can you tell us how else people can protect themselves?
Shred personal information that you get in the mail. Anything with your name on it should be shredded. Use strong passwords for your online accounts. And mostly when you're getting a scam call, hang up. Don't engage. Really just don't give your personal information to somebody over the phone unless you originated the call or you're very sure who you're talking to.
Do you have any other tips to share?
Since we're talking about elder abuse, I will say if you are having anybody come into your home, in-home care, or personal assistance services, make sure that you have a credit check done and a criminal background check. Otherwise, protect your Social Security number. It's used in many security anymore, and you don't have to provide it for most situations. There are some situations where it's required by law to provide it if you want the service or the benefit, but if not, you can request an alternate identifier, and that goes to your children too. Most companies will provide a different number for you to use as an identification instead of your Social Security number.
Okay, well, I think it's time to take some questions from the public. If you're just joining us, we're here discussing how you can help prevent elder abuse. Be sure to ask your questions in the comment box below. Remember, for your safety, don't post personally identifiable information on social media ever. So let's go to the phone. All right. I've been getting calls saying my Social Security has been suspended. What should I do?
Social Security numbers are never suspended, so hang up. That is a classic tactic of a SSA impersonation scam caller. They may threaten that you'll be arrested if you don't do what they say, if you don't give them the personal information or send money, and then report it to us. We are tracking and analyzing these reports, and you can contact our fraud hotline online at oig.ssa.gov/report, or you can call us 1-800-269-0271.
Great. Oh, this one's a good one. What should someone do if they provide their Social Security number or money to a caller?
Then it's possible that you'll become a victim of identity theft, and the best thing to do is closely monitor your personal and online accounts so you can see, you can spot any fraudulent transactions right away. Also, go to the credit bureaus. You can place a credit freeze on your account, and you can request your credit report free once per year from each credit bureau. Social Security also encourages people to create a My Social Security online account so that no one else can create one in your name. It is extremely difficult to track and recover funds sent via prepaid debit card or gift card or wire transfer. That's why the scammers ask people to send money that way. So the best advice is, if anybody ever asks you to send money that way, just to hang up or not engage. It's very difficult after the fact. I also want to note that if you do become a victim of this type of scam, sometimes that contact information of people who have fallen victim to these scams is sold or given to other scammers, and so that you might get calls, you might get an increase in calls, or you might have people offering to help you recover from the scams, but that's also a scam. So just be aware of that.
Okay. I had a call and they provided their social, oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I had a call and they insisted on leaving a phone number to call them back, and you can't track them. Is there anything that we can do?
Not call. Yes, a lot of the times the scammers will leave voicemails because they know people don't answer their phones. If you do not have some kind of ongoing business with Social Security, the chances are very good that it's a scam call. So I would not return a message to any phone number that you don't recognize or if you don't have some kind of ongoing business.
Okay. The other day, someone called me asking for my Social Security number and other types of information. The caller said my Social Security number was going to be suspended because there was criminal activity associated with it. And if I didn't send him money, I might be arrested. What should they do?
Report that to us. Again, government employees will never call you and threaten to arrest you. They don't suspend Social Security numbers. So in those situations, the best advice is just to hang up. Don't let them pressure you. And that's why we're talking about this today, because a lot of people are not aware of these scams, and they use fear. The callers use fear to scare people into providing their personal information or even sending money in some situations. So really the best thing to do is just hang up and not engage. There are very limited situations in which Social Security employees will call you, and they will never threaten to arrest you and never suspend your Social Security number.
Okay. Another person said, I received a letter with Social Security seal saying I needed to send in a donation so they could save Social Security for me and my children. Is this real?
Well, I don't know if it's real without actually seeing it, but it's a good point. There are people and companies that will use Social Security's good name and the trust that people have in Social Security to sell things, to request donations, to offer services for a fee that SSA provides for free. They will use Social Security's words and symbols and logos to gain people's trust, and that's illegal. It's actually in the Social Security Act that people are not allowed to either pretend to be SSA or to pretend to have SSA's endorsement. That is one of the situations that we encourage people to report to us, to our fraud hotline. Again, oig.ssa.gov/report. And we evaluate those allegations, and we can impose civil monetary penalties against people who mislead people using Social Security's good name.
I think my neighbor is committing Social Security fraud. What should I do?
We depend on the public to report Social Security fraud to us. We get over 100,000 allegations a year, and we look at every one of them. So feel free to report that to our fraud hotline using our online fraud reporting form. We have a variety of ways you can send it in. Write us a letter, fax, or use our online fraud reporting form, or call 1-800-269-0271. I just want to note to all the people that may suspect Social Security fraud, though, we can't tell you what happens after you report it to us. There are federal privacy laws that we're subjected to and that protect all of us. They protect the person reporting, and they protect the person that you're reporting to us. And so we can't tell you anything that we may do with that allegation. And also it's important to note that sometimes you may suspect fraud, but when we dig into the records and look at what's really happening, there is no fraud going on. And that is a perfectly good outcome, but we do encourage people to refer the allegations to us and let us do our work to take the right action.
Okay. All right, what else? My mother-in-law falls for every scam out there. What can I do to protect her?
Educate her. Really, that's why we're doing this today. We've recently made some public service announcement going out on TV and radio just to try to educate the public, because I think a lot of senior citizens in particular don't realize these scams are out there. Also, every state has an elder care agency or adult protective services agency, and they have a lot of resources and tips to talk to your loved ones about these kind of scams. So the website is eldercare.acl.gov. And you can just click on your state and find lots of resources that give you tips and these conversations.
Okay. Is there a way to like conference call in OIG during like these scam conversations?
Ooh, that's a good question. If there is, I don't know of one. I think, the scammers tend to react threateningly to any kind of answer. I think really the best advice I can give is to just hang up and report it to us. The more information you can give us about the caller, time of day, what was on the caller ID, that's important information for us. The specific words they used, anything that may help us to connect these calls and maybe identify a pattern.
Okay. Another person says, I know when IRS contacts anyone who owes money to them by mail and not by phone. So if someone owes Social Security money, do you operate the same way like IRS?
That's a very good question. I think, that is, of course, I can't speak on behalf of Social Security. I'm speaking on behalf of the Office of the Inspector General. So Social Security benefit questions, it's best to contact Social Security directly. socialsecurity.gov has a wealth of information. However, I know that when you do owe money to Social Security, they will send a letter. They may call, but again, the scam tactics are very easily identified in that they will threaten to arrest you, and demand immediate payment. And Social Security would never ask you to pay via prepaid debit card. That's really the key, is the threats and kind of the pressure they put on you to do it or else. That just Social Security employees would never do that.
Okay. Here's one. How much Social Security fraud is out there?
It's really impossible to say because we only know what we know, right? But that's why it's so important to have forums like this where we tell the public to report suspected fraud to us, because our best source of information is the public and Social Security employees. So we report every 6 months. We submit a report to Congress saying exactly how many investigations we close. So we know that we get over 100,000 allegations a year, and we conduct several thousand investigations per year of Social Security fraud, and we save hundreds of millions of dollars per year for Social Security and the American people. But it's tough to put an exact dollar amount on how much fraud is out there.
Okay, here's another one. I'm getting a call from people saying Social Security is going to have me arrested because of some fraud. They're claiming to be sheriffs, deputies, or the FBI. What should I do?
Hang up. If you're concerned about local law enforcement, you can call your local police department. They often have, I think most of them have a non-emergency number, and you can call and ask, to see if there's any legitimacy. But these calls are so common right now that it's very certain that it's a scam. Government agencies just don't threaten to arrest you, and they certainly don't do it over the phone. So just hang up. That's the best advice.
Okay. Do you guys investigate identity theft?
We do. Often other law enforcement agencies will ask us to become involved because we have, we work for Social Security and we're involved in Social Security number issues. But usually our investigative jurisdiction is over Social Security programs. And today, identity theft covers a range of crimes and situations, usually not involving Social Security, like bank fraud, anything that you need a Social Security number for, filing a tax return. So we don't always get involved in those types of investigations, but in some limited situations, yes. Social Security number misuse for terrorist purposes, for instance, or just really when somebody's using that number for some purpose related to Social Security programs, to file for benefits or something like that.
Okay. Ooh, this one's a good one. What happens if someone is caught committing Social Security fraud? Like, how serious is this?
Well, it could be very serious. There's a wide range of consequences for Social Security fraud, and there are many different types of Social Security fraud. When you're stealing Social Security funds, that's a federal crime. It's theft of government funds. And what happens is we will investigate and find evidence of that. Then we bring the evidence to a prosecutor, either a federal prosecutor or a state and local prosecutor, and they decide whether to bring criminal charges. And then if they do bring criminal charges, then the penalties can range. There's a wide range of consequences, but it can include prison time, can include fines. And our goal is to get that money repaid to Social Security so that it can be directed to the right people.
Okay. Are there any additional resources that we should know about?
I would direct people to the Federal Trade Commission. That's the national clearinghouse, the one central location for all kinds of consumer complaints, and particularly identity theft. IdentityTheft.gov has a wealth of resources. It's a place to go to prevent becoming a victim, and then if you do become a victim, they will walk you through a series of things that you can do to address the identity theft. And also, I think I mentioned it, state elder care agencies are a good source of information, and also someone to contact if you're concerned about elder abuse. And that website is eldercare.acl.gov.
Okay. And then where can I stay informed about the latest Social Security scams as they develop?
Social Security has a blog. It's called Social Security Matters, and there's in the right column you can click on fraud to get all the scam information. And we post fraud advisories to our website, oig.ssa.gov. And if you click on Newsroom, we have a scam awareness page where we post those fraud advisories. And that should keep you up to date with all the latest on Social Security.
Okay. So it looks like we've run out of some time. Thank you for joining us today.
Sure.
And thank you all for watching. We know that no one cares for your loved ones the way you do. You're their voice and best defense against elder abuse. Help raise awareness by speaking about elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. You can start by sharing this Facebook Live video with others. Be sure to visit for more information about our programs and sign up to receive the latest Social Security news at blog.ssa.gov. And don't forget, this video will be closed caption post-broadcast. I'm Leah. Thanks for watching.
I thought I won the lottery and my life was going to change. I only had to pay a fee to collect my winnings.
I had no idea there was a problem with my Social Security benefits.
There was a warrant for my arrest, and it was urgent, and I was scared. So I sent the gift cards right away.
I clicked the link and provided my credit card information, but my check never came, and my money was gone.
Scammers use a variety of scenarios designed to make you think their stories are true. They gain your trust by telling you something familiar, fortunate, or frightening. They create a sense of urgency and importance. They press you to provide personal information. Although the schemes vary, there are some telltale signs. Requests for immediate or urgent responses to unsolicited phone calls, letters, emails, or text. Calls allegedly from government agencies or other organizations that threaten you with arrest if you fail to act promptly. Requests for non-traditional payment methods like gift cards. Your own suspicion that something about this does not feel right. In such circumstances, avoid providing banking information, your Social Security number, and other personal information to unknown persons over the telephone or internet. If you think it might be a scam, do not engage the caller. Hang up the phone. If it is an email, do not click any links. Delete the message. If you're not sure about the validity of the communication, ask questions. Be certain about why you are sharing the information and who's receiving it. Do not respond with personal information on the call or by email. Instead, contact the requesting organization directly. If you have suspicions about any communication that claims to be from Social Security or the Office of the Inspector General, please report it to the OIG directly. With scam awareness and vigilance, you can stay ahead of these thieves.
For more information on scam awareness or to submit an allegation, please visit oig.ssa.gov.
Start talking. Start talking. Start talking. Stop HIV.
Stop HIV.
Inicia la conversación. Detén el VIH.
Start talking.
It's really been great, to come out here with so many people that are passionate.
It's always nice to find a new way to get that message out to more people.
I've got to play my own dress up in different costumes and got to have my makeup done.
We just kind of got to lay around in bed and have fun.
I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time because I've been HIV positive for 33 years.
People know it's still around, and we still have work to do.
Nobody's talking about this anymore, and it's not gone, it's not better, so what happened?
Yeah, I did it to make a difference.
I think a healthy relationship is just about being honest and open about how you feel, not holding anything back, just laying everything on the line.
Yeah, honesty definitely is key.
Emotionally, it just makes the sex better, honestly.
I think it's imperative to have conversations about safe sex right from the get-go.
Bringing it up is actually the hardest part.
It's easiest just to jump in like pulling off a Band-Aid, because once you've gotten the information out there, at least you can discuss it freely with each other.
So when we first started dating, I was very naive and silly and stupid, and he was always very persistent about, you have to be safe, you have to watch out for yourself.
We have great sex, but it's really safe.
If one of us were to find ourselves in a situation where we've done something with someone else, then we have to disclose that information, because now that means our good streak of being HIV negative and healthy and only being with each other has now been tarnished.
We're together. We're going to be together for a long time, and this is something that we need to make sure that we're open and honest about.
There's lots of things that Greg and I do to keep healthy. One of the things that I think is very important is we get tested every 6 months.
We had to use condoms, and if we weren't going to use condoms, we had to do something that was less risky.
When we first talked about our HIV status together, we kind of swapped close call stories.
I tested with him and he tested, and we both tested negative.
Disclosure should happen before any kind of romantic, sexual, anything may happen, because the last thing I want to do is put somebody at risk.
I'm very strictly taking my medication every day to make sure that I continue to have a undetectable viral load and a high CD4 count.
If I'm staying virally suppressed, then I have that much less of an opportunity of passing on the virus to him.
Always wrap it up, If you ain't got it, we ain't doing it.
I had just been diagnosed HIV positive. Disclosure early on was kind of my game. And I told him right off the bat.
I think what I would say to anybody getting in a new relationship is start talking immediately. There's no reason to be embarrassed or silent about anything.
Sex is such a difficult topic to discuss.
I think it's awkward, I guess, but you have to get past that. Everybody has the fears of bringing up that conversation of what's your status. Everybody has fears of going and getting tested. Everybody's a little self-conscious about, pulling out a condom, but everybody goes through that.
Just be very candid and blunt about it. I don't think that's anything you should dodge around or be secretive or be shy about.
If you don't know your status, then go ahead and get tested. But if you do know your status, talk about it.
It was getting to know him, and I sent him my test results just randomly because, I kind of do things that way to just start conversations sometimes.
Don't fall with the whole I like the feeling better without a condom. It's just not worth it at the end of the day.
There have been several instances where people have either not wanted to use them, and so you have to start the conversation of well, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen, or
why.
If you're willing to have sex with someone, then you should be willing to go and get tested.
It's better to be safe than unsure. And keep it hot.
Preventing HIV and having safe and healthy relationships are an important part of sexual health. We'll take you through an overview of PrEP with PrEP 101, show you how to access PrEP, and let you find out if PrEP is right for you. PrEP is an HIV prevention option that works by taking one pill every day. PrEP stands for Pre-Exposure Prophylaxis. When taken every day, PrEP can provide a high level of protection against HIV and is even more effective when it is combined with condoms and other prevention tools. People who use PrEP should take the medicine every day and return to their healthcare provider every 3 months for follow-up and prescription refills. Now, let's take a look at the numbers. In several studies of PrEP, the risk of getting HIV infection was up to 92% lower for those who took the medicines consistently than for those who didn't take the pill. Some people in clinical studies of PrEP had early side effects such as upset stomach, loss of appetite, or mild headache, but these were all mild and usually went away in the first month. How do you start PrEP? Talk with your doctor or healthcare provider. If you and your provider agree that PrEP might help, get tested for HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases, and to see if your kidneys are working well. If PrEP is a good option for you, your provider will give you a prescription. PrEP is covered by most insurance programs. If you don't have insurance, your healthcare provider can direct you to medication assistance programs that may help pay for PrEP. You can also contact your local health department and HIV and AIDS service organizations for more information. Thinking about PrEP to prevent HIV? Here's what to do next. Make a list of why you think PrEP would be right for you, and do your research and seek out information to help you decide. Also, think about your routine and what might make it easy or hard to take a daily pill. And always know you can call your healthcare provider if you have more questions. But what are the best questions to ask? Would PrEP be a good option for me? How much would PrEP lower my risk of HIV infection? What else can I do to lower my risk of HIV infection? Can I get help paying for PrEP? Are there any side effects to PrEP? How often will I be tested for HIV and other STDs? Will you prescribe and manage PrEP for me? If you decide PrEP is right for you, definitely take your pill every day. Follow your healthcare provider's advice about how to take your pill. This will give it the best chance to prevent HIV infection. Tell your healthcare provider if you have trouble remembering to take your pill or want to stop PrEP. Remember, you are in control. Get informed. Make the right choice for you. Check out the Start Talking, Stop HIV website for resources.